What's up, guys? I'm back. Prince Brathwaite here with another conversation about self-strength and really about what I would call a trooper mentality, right? Being mentally strong, but also being able to be strong for others in our lives as well. And I'm back as I promised, and I want to thank you guys for chiming in on the topics that you want to talk about. There was many. I want to touch on all of them. Thank you for all the content ideas and the ways that I can create the conversations that you guys want to have. The one I want to jump on and talk about today is time management. For my personal, for my business, as a parent, as a husband, all of these things kind of fall into time management. I'm sure many of you have the same things you have to manage, and or more or less, doesn't matter. The reason I want to touch on this topic, just want to give a shout out and thanks to Nico Fit for requesting it, along with Exclusive Sonic, Black Success, Kristen Piccioni, Fit, aka Coach Matt, are some of the people that were interested in this particular topic. It's gonna be a fun one because I do have a lot of time management experience in terms of if you follow me at all, you know I keep myself busy. So just to give anybody who's new to me here a little bit of color on my background, I am the owner of Trooper Fitness, a fitness studio in NYC, currently expanding. Actually, that's happening soon. Also, I'm a father, very important to me. I have 3 sons. I have a loving wife. That's also very important to me as well. And then also myself, taking care of my own health. I have clients and friends and people that depend on me to support them. And all of those things matter, and all of those things have to happen in my eyes. All of those things need to be taken care of in my eyes. And there really is in my opinion, there is no getting rid of one or sacrificing one of those things. I'll sacrifice other things to make sure those things are taken care of. Now, the obvious answer to how do you time manage with all of these different things, I say obvious in my eyes. This part is obvious. There's a lot more that's not. Would be to prioritize, right? Meaning, doing things in the order of what's most important to you, making sure those things get done. That's a little easier said than done, obviously, and maybe you guys even are aware of that way of looking at things. But what I would say, what's really huge, is truly knowing what's most important to you comes before prioritizing. I think maybe there may be some challenges and nuance with that for some people. Let me just back up a little bit actually and talk about something that I think is really important, and that is, all of us want multiple things. And we've always wanted multiple things, but now that we have social media and we can see our friends' lives and even strangers' lives, it makes our imagination wilder, which is cool, but it could drive you crazy because we want multiple things. I don't think that's a problem if you're aware of that and if you can take a step back and look at what's truly important to you, right? There are many things that I want to do that I probably will never indulge in. And that's because there's hundreds of things I want to do, right? That being said, there are things that are non-negotiable for me. I will say another thing is I'm giving an example. There are many situations. There's a lot of times where people are trying to achieve a goal, and sometimes the response that's given to them is, you don't want it bad enough, or you don't really want it. Because if you did, you would do it. And I don't think that's a fair assessment in most cases. And it doesn't mean that there doesn't need to be some reflecting done there. But for example, I'm in fitness. One of the big ones for people is weight loss. If that's a goal of yours, or getting fit as a whole, a lot of us just don't buckle down and do it. And because there's multiple things going on in our lives, do we not want to get fit? I would argue a hard no. Most of us would love to be fit. I would argue everybody would probably choose to be fit. All of us would choose to be wealthy. Why don't you work on that? Why don't you do it? The thing is, we want, once again, multiple things. And the only way you're going to get to the thing that's most important to you is if you focus on the thing that's most important to you. And sometimes you need to make it more important to you, because it's very easy in the noise of social media and our fast moving lives to not actually focus. So a couple of things. I definitely make time to sit in silence, which is easier said than done, especially for a lot of parents. But it would behoove you to find a way, even if for an hour or 30 minutes, to definitely make time for that. And it may call for asking a friend or your spouse or something to say, I just need some time for myself, and you need to take that time because it'll be better for everybody, including that person possibly in your life. Now, when it comes to prioritizing, when I prioritize, I view it as you have to know without a shadow of a doubt what is important to you. And that comes down to, and an easy way to do that is to list all the things that you want. And if you're not sure which one is more important, then you need to go and write down why it's important to you. What is the value of it to you? And I'm going to keep backing up. And if you're having trouble with that portion, like whys, then you need to back up again and look at what your personal values are. And this I recommend even before time management. I recommend this for happiness. I recommend this for just navigating through life. I truly believe this. I think it allows you to be strong. It allows you to be resilient. Knowing what's important to you, knowing what your personal values are, also there'll be guiding principles in your life. It makes decision making easier, and a lot of things. So if I ever gave a piece of advice right now in this moment, I feel like the biggest one I would give is to sit down with yourself and find out what exactly your personal values are, your core values, because everything else stems from that. So again, core values, writing down what are the things you want, and then writing down next to it why it's important to you, and then deciding which ones are more important. Now, once you've done that, obviously number 1 needs to be non-negotiable. That has to happen. I would argue 2 and 3 are also non-negotiable in that order. 4 may fall off, or you might struggle with 4, 5, and as it goes down, everyone has different capacities to manage a certain amount of things just based on bandwidth, whether it's through your life or just even your genetic makeup, whatever your mind. But I would argue everybody could do 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3 are some things that you can hold on to, like those top things. And then everything else can happen as well. And the better you get at 1, 2, and 3, the more 4, 5, and 6 you'll have time for it, because 1, 2, and 3 might become more automated. As a father, I have 3 sons, and we homeschool them. Me and my wife homeschool them, which makes things a little more complicated, some might argue. It does make for less time to do other things because they're not in school. We are the ones that are educating them, if you will. That's something that if you guys want to hear more about, I'm definitely interested in talking about. I don't want to bombard this conversation with it. But we're homeschooling our children. I run a business, grassroots, built from the ground up. That comes with a lot of stress, more than most people realize. You may know it, but when you go through it, it really is something that's tough and takes a lot of resilience. And back to knowing your core values and why you're doing something is the only thing that will keep you moving forward. Being a husband is very important to me. I want to stay in the night. For me, right? And I think everyone's different. To be fair to everybody, things don't always line up, but I feel very aligned with my wife right now and what we want out of life. And we want to continue to live together. So that also takes work, though. It's not a thing like, oh, we're good, we agree, it's gonna work out. We need to work on it. We need to go on dates. We need to have time where we talk one-on-one. Those things are important. So that being said, I do have a list of the things that I want to do. Everyone's different. Journaling sometimes helps. I definitely recommend always coming back to the reset. Having a meeting with yourself, having a meeting with anybody involved with you, whether it be your kids, call it, or your wife or husband, because and they might not even know they're part of a meeting, but you're checking in and making sure you're doing the meetings. So one thing I've learned is that I learned this through business, through having to go through this through business, is that when we're having meetings, we are more successful. When there is communication, we are more successful. So anything that you have that you want to do, you need to set time in your calendar that is non-negotiable, that you hold yourself accountable to. Like I said, having a meeting with my kids, they don't know if they're having a meeting with me, but I make sure that I'm doing touch points with them because I love them. There are things that I want to impart in them and I don't want to miss. So I make time for it. Are things perfect? Hell the fuck no. Things are not perfect. Things fall to the wayside. Things don't pan out the way I want. I make mistakes. But because of my core values, I will always double back and fix my mistakes, admit my mistakes. And being self-introspective is huge. That time that I'm talking about finding out your core values is really introspection. Is introspection and self-assessment and really thinking about what makes you tick. What do you want out of life? It's a you have to build that relationship with yourself, and it's so important. It's so important. I think everything else stems from those roots. Your gratitude, your energy, your passion, your willingness to do things, to get up when things are hard, all come that from that checking with yourself and knowing yourself and loving yourself because you know yourself. It's very hard to love yourself if you don't know yourself. That's something that I think a lot of people are walking around trying to do. I hear a lot of talk about self-love, but it comes down to getting to know what makes you tick and what, because you can't love yourself. You can't even, as a verb, you can't even give yourself love if you don't know what you want, right? So yeah, prioritizing is the easy way of saying it, but that takes a little bit of, stepping back, finding out your core values, writing a list of what's important to you, why it's important to you, because why will make you get up when you're tired or find a way, and also making non-negotiable meetings with yourself and everyone and thing that needs to get done. Your fitness, your health. For me, that's a non-negotiable, probably even more so because I lead in the fitness industry. So I need to also shine as an example for everyone that follows me, my staff, you guys, my children, right? I view myself as a leader in that space. So I probably value it where you might value it 100%. I probably value it 110%. You know what I mean? Because I have that extra, it's not just me, it's for others as well. But I hope this helped. I would love to hear what you guys also do to get to prioritize your day, to prioritize your or I should say, how do you manage your time with all the things you have to do in a day? And it really comes down to, like I said, you're gonna have to move things. You're doing things that all of us have 24 hours, and we're doing things we don't need to do, whether it's scrolling, whether it's hanging with toxic friends that we don't even need in our lives in the first place, being around negativity, whatever the case may be. If you don't have to think about all those things, if you just take a blank piece of paper, whether it's your phone or a blank piece of paper, and start fresh as if you had all the time in the world. What are all the things that you want to get done? It'll fill up and your day will be full again, but it'll be filled up in the order that makes sense for you. So that's my 2 cents. Took a little longer than I wanted to on that, but definitely chime in. Let me know what you suggest. I definitely don't have all the answers. These are the answers that I have to provide, but it's a conversation. So let's keep it going back and forth, interactive. You know the vibes. All we know is go. Keep that trooper mentality, baby.